So my name is Mary Silva, and I am an audiologist. I am a mother. I am a Republican. And
a real one or a fake one?
A real one. I attended the state convention in 2008 as an alternate. I voted Republican pretty much exclusively. I mean, there were times where I went libertarian, maybe even delved into some anarchy through my journey to try to see where I fell. But, you know, home is being a Republican for me. So anyways, I've lived through all the same stuff you guys have. I don't necessarily want to run for Congress. I am being called. I feel called to do this. It was going from being a delegate to Congress, US Congress, not just state Congress, right? That's a big jump, and I realize that. But I, along with others, have discovered some things that were not being talked about, and I became very concerned because I was seeing evidence in the news that things weren't really being addressed, and I'm here to talk to you guys about that today. So yeah, I've lived through all the same insanity you guys have lived through, and I feel, and as I'm sure you do, that we are being brought to a low point by design. My issue has to do with our national security, and specifically our critical infrastructure. Our national security and our jobs are tied together. They are intertwined. We are a high-tech place. I mean, we have so much high technology being developed here in Washington State. They're completely inseparable. Had we kept our jobs here in Washington State, specifically in cyber, I believe we would not have the massive national security issue and the implications that follow. And I am the first person to realize the sensitivity about what I'm about to tell you, because this has to do with the country of Israel. And how I understand that Israel is core, a key to our national security. But we need to understand this information because the information I gathered is from the Israeli press. They're the ones who've been talking about this. They've been screaming about this. They've been saying, help us, we have a problem. So Haaretz, the Times of Israel, Jerusalem Post, they're posting about this. It's vital to understand because this problem is not slowing down and it's not stopping. So the media and the US government have been deliberately keeping the truth from the American public. That's what I've gathered. That Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud party have utterly betrayed the United States. They were front and center in conducting espionage against us to assist Russia and China. We need to face the fact that we are facing the greatest espionage scandal in history. And they nearly pulled it off. Russia, China, and Israel together. But if it wasn't for the efforts of the Israeli press and assorted whistleblowers, they would have taken us down from within. And you might be thinking, the DOD, the DIA, the CIA, the FBI, counterintelligence, they may have this under control. They don't, guys. I'm telling you right now, they don't. The AIPAC lobby is too strong. And they've really figured out how to get into everything. So I found that Microsoft core codes their products from the Azure cloud to Microsoft Office and to Windows in Israel. These products are being used by our Pentagon, our weapons labs, Boeing, your local businesses and universities. And they're core-coded by graduates of the Israeli military intelligence program, Talpiot and Unit 8200. Many of the Talpiot and Unit 8200 graduates are the sons and daughters of Russian emigres who fled the Soviet Union after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Isn't it odd how Russia and China seem to be able to easily hack our US technology? Could it be that Vladimir Putin made sure his people are deep inside Israeli high technology and their industrial base? I believe so. The same industrial base that has the highest level of Intel Corporation chip research and design is based in Israel. It's not just a simple fabrication facility, it's their most advanced. That's where they proclaim that Intel's most advanced chips are designed. Is this also the place where the backdoors were inserted into Intel chips, nearly destroying the company? I want you to ponder that. And why? And I have articles. I'm not just talking out my behind, you guys. I have done a lot of research on this. But why was former Intel CEO Brian Krzanich stating Intel considers itself an Israeli company as much as an American company? Why did the same CEO state that the latest R&D would be centered in Jerusalem? This was in 2017, just before massive backdoors, they called them security flaws, in Spectre and Meltdown were discovered and made public. Intel has yet to recover from its almost total collapse and incompetence as AMD and NVIDIA take over the corporate server field. It makes me wonder about Boeing. They too sent their coding to Israel and India, and we know what's happening with them in the news. Their security has been tanking, or their safety level, has been tanking. Do we sense a problem? These are not my opinions. These are the opinions of experts that I've sought the information from. And it's being swept under the rug by the current administration that is racked by its own family scandals involving the CCP and assorted dodgy business deals. We can start to understand what happened when we start with Heinz Kissinger and his private consulting company that he formed, Kissinger and Associates. It was a private company that became more powerful than the US State Department. It's a consulting firm deep in bed with Russia and China, and in particular, Benjamin Netanyahu and his pretend Russian Jewish friends out of the Russian intelligence service. I know these words are strong. We cannot fight what we cannot name, and the war must begin at home. Who has allowed our core cyber technology jobs to be shipped overseas? How do you think Russia and China have penetrated us so deeply into our critical infrastructure, economic, political, and educational life? Think about the 1,000 Talents program. Think about these other things. It's all tied together from my perspective. I have a lot more to say and share. I'm keeping it short because I know I go long-winded, but I'm asking for your endorsement so that this message can get out to Washingtonians. No one else will tell the people this message. It causes way too many big questions in the front of Americans' minds about who allowed these things to occur, who within our government, who within our areas of power have allowed this to happen, and why. I think of Epstein Island. I think of these other groups where they've potentially compromised our people. And I'm sick to my stomach about it. And I wanted to do something about it, so I decided to run for Congress just to get the message out. That's really my reason. And I care about my country, and I want to see us bring things back home. I want jobs here. I want our people designing this critical, keeping our critical infrastructure safe, designing our own technology, because we can do it. And that's my reason. Anybody have questions? Yeah.
So do you consider Israel an ally?
I do. I believe we need to help strengthen Israel. I see the problem with Netanyahu and Likud. They are the problem. Yeah, it's a mafia, in my opinion. Yes.